You're watching the Press Row. I'm Jenny here with Barry. We're knee-deep in football, but it's Thunder time, too. They've started practicing, Barry. They're going to have their first inter-squad scrimmage on Sunday out in Newcastle, and then there's a preseason game. By this time next week, they'll have played a preseason game. What are you most interested in as these guys get going, as we start to see them in live action, albeit preseason, but what are you most interested to find out about this bunch?
Well, I mean, I'm with everybody else. I want to see who starts. Is he going to start Cantor and Waiters, Cantor and Robertson? Is he going to start Robertson and Adams, Waiters and Adams? I don't know. We probably won't figure any of that out in the early exhibitions. I want to see what kind of ball movement they have under Billy Donovan. Yeah. Is it going to look different? We got to see a little bit last year before everybody got hurt, and it seemed to be an improvement. I remember a summer ago, big off-season commitment to ball movement, and Scotty Brooks was preaching it, and the players said they were following. Everybody got hurt, couldn't tell anything. So now, will it look different? And you know, I think that was one of the mantras for when Billy Donovan was hired. I think Sam Presti wanted somebody that would implement better offense. In addition, a good offense to go with great offensive players.
Yeah.
So will we see that in the first few exhibition games? I'm anxious to see.
Yeah, you know, I think obviously just, you know, some of those nuts and bolts things that everybody else is talking about when it comes to health and how these guys look. You know, I want to see what does Kevin Durant look like? What does Serge Ibaka look like? You know, so many injuries of so many guys last year. You know, you just kind of want to see. You just want to see with your own eyes what everybody looks like. But then I think what you said is right. You know, what is this team going to look like under Billy Donovan? But what are they going to look like together? It's been so long since we've seen you know, some of these guys play together. We've never seen Cantor and Kevin Durant play together. You know, we've rarely seen Ibaka and Cantor play together. You know, it's just, it's so crazy that this team that was such a bastion of consistency with its starting lineup, with who's available, with lack of injuries. It just gets blown all to pieces last year. So putting this all back together and how does it work together, I think is going to be really interesting. And Barry, I'm curious, what you said about the starting lineup is true. I'm interested to see who starts too, but to me that also takes me to the next thing, that second unit. What's that second unit look like? Because the depth of this team, when you start to tile it all up, they've got some pretty serious depth. I think that second unit could be a serious strength for this group moving forward. They could be really, really tough to handle.
Well, especially think about this. If you got Cantor coming off the bench, which personally I would advocate and a lot of people would, you got Enes Kanter and Anthony Morrow.
And Dion Waiters potentially.
And perhaps Waiters. I mean, you got scoring coming off that bench. Yeah. So, yeah, this is probably the deepest Thunder team we've seen. And you got a props to Sam Presti because while the Thunder periodically has had really good benches and only occasional stretches where they struggled, think back to the 14 Western Finals, that Game 6 where basically Scott Brooks went with a 6-player rotation.
Yeah.
He played 6 men basically that night. And the Thunder depth was gone. And now you look at all the guys he's got. People like Mitch McGary going to have a very tough time getting on the court, but has been productive when he has. Kyle Singler won't play much, I don't think, with Kevin Durant's healthy, but he's a guy that Sam Presti loves. So lots of options there for Billy Donovan.
Yeah, and how he's going to use all those pieces, I think, comes into play because McGary, his energy is obviously great, but Collison, if you're starting the rest of those offensive, or you've got those other offensive pieces in that second unit, you have to have Collison defense in there. I think that's a big question. So, yeah, how does he integrate all of these guys? Cam Payne, we haven't even mentioned him, DJ Augustine. I mean, they've really got potentially 12 or 13 guys that, depending on how things are going, they could play. I don't think they'll play that many guys, but to have that many pieces at his disposal, unlike a year ago when we were trying to figure out who was available to play, I mean, it's such a change of pace for this group. I think it's just going to be interesting to see. And I have to think, even in these preseason games, Barry, isn't Kevin Durant's energy just going to be off the charts? Aren't they going to have to hold him back a little bit after all of this?
I think the answer is yes, and I hope they do, and I think they will. They'll need to hold him back, and they will. I think you'll see very limited minutes out of Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
And even when the season starts, I don't think the old 41-minute a night guy is going to be there. No. I think you're going to we're going to see less of Kevin Durant in the regular season than we've ever seen before.
Yeah, and I think less of him in the regular season means more for the Thunder moving ahead.
Hopefully so.
Yeah. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.